From possessing much more striking power to having a psychological edge over his opponents, here's why Alex Pereira will destroy Israel Adesanya at UFC 287. Let's kick things off with Alex Pereira's ruthless striking power. Now there's no doubt about this one, the power that Poitin possesses in his hands, Adesanya isn't even close to it. Pereira is one of the most accomplished kickboxers in the history of the promotion, and we all know what kickboxing is known for, sheer power.
Pereira looking to make history here. Oh, no! He's done it!
It's all about how hard you can knock your opponent down, and Pereira has been doing it all his life. Pereira has already knocked Adesanya out 2 times in his career.
You could have stopped this a long time ago. Mark Goddard gave him a ton of time.
We gave him all the time, but look, he's not even looking.
What's stopping him from doing it for a 3rd time? Yeah, it's true that MMA is nothing like kickboxing. We've seen many kickboxers try and fail in the UFC.
Now Pereira go for the finish. What a leaping knee! Down twice. It's Jason Wellness. He does it.
Just look at Semi Schlitt, for example. I mean, he was easily one of the greatest heavyweight kickboxers of all time, but what happened when he joined the UFC? It seemed like he was a completely different fighter. He barely made a dent here, but Poitin's something different. He just might be an exceptional case who was a king in kickboxing and now is a king in MMA. I can't even remember the last time Adesanya shot for a takedown in an MMA fight. He likes to wrestle and clinch his opponents, but Pereira, on the other hand, is a striker, and this one's gonna be a striking battle as well. Plus, Alex doesn't just have raw power in his hands, he has one-shot kill power in that left hand of his. Remember what he did to the last stylebender when they fought the last time? It was Pereira's murderous left hook and left him for dead. One-shot kill power comes in handy when you want to knock your opponent down at any moment in the fight, but it's not like every other fighter has it. There are just a few, and Poitin is one of them. That left hook of his is one of the deadliest weapons ever seen in the history of the UFC. What he did to Adesanya the last time is all the evidence you need about it. Pereira will have the same game plan once again. He won't be afraid to give away rounds. He won't care if he's behind on the scorecards. Poitin will always look for that one small window, a window through which he could just land that one big shot. I mean, Adesanya dominated him for 4 straight rounds in the last fight, and Pereira was way behind Adesanya on the scorecards, but still ended up winning the fight. I mean, it's not possible that Adesanya will be so concrete defensively that he won't give Pereira an opening for 5 rounds. I just can't believe it. At some point in the fight, Adesanya will give in and Pereira will pounce on it. But Pereira isn't just physically stronger than him, he's mentally stronger as well. Pereira has the psychological edge over the last stylebender. It's not easy to fight someone who's already defeated you 3 times. Yes, Pereira might not be as experienced as Adesanya inside the octagon, but the Brazilian has managed to get into his opponent's head already. His legacy and his pride are on the line. There's just too much at stake for Adesanya, and when the stakes are this high, it's not hard to fumble. Adesanya will always be on the lookout for that big match winner from Pereira, and that's what he'll be scared about. Things were different when they were fighting for the first time inside the octagon. Pereira had only defeated him in kickboxing, and while Pereira was still a kickboxer, Adesanya made a name for himself in the UFC, and their fight inside the octagon is when it all mattered. This was Adesanya's chance to show him that this is the biggest stage in the world, and I'm the king of this stage. But that didn't happen. He failed, and he is bound to fail again. I don't want to say that Adesanya is a bad fighter, but it's just the truth. In Pereira's mind, he has already won the fight, and there's nothing the last stylebender can do to stop him. The current UFC heavyweight champion, Jon Jones, agrees with me as well. Jones said Pereira has Adesanya's number. A while back, Jones in an interview chose Pereira as the winner of this rematch. He says that Pereira is one of the most hardworking guys in the business, so there's no doubt that he'll be rooting rooting for him. But most importantly, Bones said that there are some athletes who have other athletes' number. No matter what they do, they just can't beat them. And that's exactly the case with these two, according to Jon Jones. No matter how many times they fight, Pereira will always have the better of Adesanya. And when you have a psychological edge over someone, it awards you with one thing: massive confidence. Mind control is everything, guys. Confidence is one of the most important things you need as a fighter. A lot of other fighters, whenever they stepped inside the octagon with Adesanya, they're just a little shy, a little scared. That does their confidence no good. They have doubts over themselves because Adesanya has defeated basically everyone in the middleweight division except for Pereira. And that's why Pereira isn't someone who will be intimidated by Adesanya. He had the same level of confidence when they fought for the first time in the UFC, and he'll have the same level of confidence now. No matter how experienced Adesanya is, he won't beat Poitin. Speaking of Adesanya's experience, it might come back to haunt him, cause he might get overconfident. Adesanya has come across some serious competition in his UFC career. He made his debut against Rob Wilkinson in 2018. Since that day, he has shown that he's one of the most confident guys inside the octagon. Just listen to this. After defeating Wilkinson, he wasted no time in calling out some of the best fighters in the middleweight division. It wasn't tough for him to make his way to the top of the middleweight division. He defeated Derek Brunson and Anderson Silva like it was nothing, and Adesanya was the middleweight champion in no time. Then he defeated Robert Whittaker for the UFC Gold and was a champion in less than 2 years since his debut. Now, all these are huge achievements, but these are the kind of achievements that can get you overconfident. Adesanya will be thinking that he has defeated some of the biggest fighters in the division, and that Pereira's first win against him was nothing but a fluke. If he really is thinking this way, then he'll be in the mud on fight night. Apart from his loss against Pereira, Adesanya's only loss inside the octagon was against the then lightweight heavyweight champion, John Blachowicz. This might force him to think that he's kind of invincible in the octagon, and this is one of the many things that'll help Pereira destroy him. Speaking of destroying Adesanya, there's only one way that it's gonna happen. Poitin will outstrike him on the feet and finish him via TKO. Given his unbelievable kickboxing skills and immense power, I can only see this fight ending one way. Pereira knocks Adesanya out cold and puts him to sleep. There's nothing else you expect from the current version of Poitin. You don't expect him to win via submission or through a decision. No, that isn't what Alex is about. He's all about power and reckless blows to his opponents. This is what we expect from him, and that's exactly what he has given us so far in his UFC career. There's only one winner in this fight, and that's Alex Poitin Pereira. That's all for me on why Pereira will destroy Adesanya again at UFC 287.